Nithyanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nithyanandam. With the grace and blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, His Divine Holiness, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, Bhagavan Shri Nithyananda Paramashivam, we are having continuous Vakyartha Sadhas on various topics related to the revival of Hinduism, as Bhagavan himself is reviving Shri Kailasa. The ongoing discussions have been discussing non-vegetarianism and whether it should be allowed or not. And beautifully in Shri Kailasa, the vote has been made into a law that non-vegetarianism is banned. And you can find more information about this new ruling in kailasa.org. Apart from that, discussions have been going on about puja, whether puja should be made into a mandatory law and is it necessary. The questions were ongoing for the past few weeks about, is puja necessary or can it just be as per somebody's convenience? And newly, the topic in the last few days has been about religious conversion. Should Hindus allow religious conversion or not? This is the one in question. Swamiji has been giving Hindus a voice through Shri Kailasa and giving them and reviving this Hindu great tradition for all of us to be able to wake up and understand the actual rights we have and the actual freedom we have to practice this religion, and how Shri Kailasa can be a vision for all of us, for a beautiful place and a space for us to practice our religion authentically and integratedly. And as Swamiji has been saying, Hinduism is a greater science, that it will benefit the entire world itself. So on this basis, we have been, people of Shri Kailasa have been conducting Hindu votes to bring out the voice of the Hindus and make them understand and help them to know that they have a place in this world, a powerful place in this world that can change the world for the better. We will now show a small clip of Swamiji giving us the guidance and giving us the revelations about the Hindu votes.
On this auspicious Deepavali day, we have very beautiful announcement. The Hindu votes are sacred. The Hindu votes matter. Hindus vote for Hinduism. Activity is getting consolidated and presented to all of you. I want all of you to know this voting system is in Hinduism from time immemorial. Even in the Vedas and Puranas, there are references where a concept is debated and voted. Not only in our Vedas and Agamas, even in the Puranas, there are enough historical reference. From time immemorial, this tradition was there, doing Vakyartha Sadhas, Vakyartha Sadhas, Anubhava Mantava discussions, and then voting for certain concepts, principles, ideas, decisions to come to conclusions. So that same tradition handed over to me from my Guru Parampara, and I have revived for last 26 years of my life. I have revived this whole system, and here I am presenting the whole system. The Hindu parliament system and Hindu voting system. The work we have done in the last 26 years in multiple Satsangs, public programs, I used to explain a concept and ask for people to raise their hands to vote for this side or that side. If you many times, if you attended my live Satsangs programs in those days, you will know very clearly. I used to explain a concept, then I'll ask whoever understands, cognizes, please raise your hand. And I'll always explain the other side and say, whoever understands this principle, raise your hand. So it is the principle adopted from the ancient time. I was reviving the original parliament system as per the cosmic constitution of Hinduism. Continuously, we will do Vakyartha Sadhas, Jivartha Sadhas, and ask the Hindus to vote for various Hindu matters and offer the Vidhi and Nisheda, the Smriti for this Yuga. The Smriti for this Yuga will be revealed through Vakyartha Sadhas, Jivartha Sadhas and voting. Finally, approved by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, we will be bringing new Smriti to life for this modern day. In Hinduism, active participation is expected. See, you may vote just by saying yes or no, but that will be considered only as a participation, not active participation. If you give an explanation, your viewpoint, why you are voting for what you are voting, why you are doing what you are doing. If you present your powerful cognitions too, it will help the next generation Hindus. See, when you have a reason to vote for vegetarian food, and if you explain the reason also, after 100 years, if that reason has changed or that reason has become irrelevant, people can change the decision. So it will help for the generations to enjoy your expertise and your intelligence. That is the reason we request you to put your powerful cognitions, your thought currents also on record in the form of Vakyartha Sadhas and Jivartha Sadhas.
Beautifully, Bhagavan has given the guidance and encouraged all Hindus to become active and to show their participation in the Hindu votes. So today, as a part of this Jivartha Sadhas, a deep discussion for the benefit of ourselves, sharing our experience and sharing our insights into practicing Hinduism. We have with us panelists. We have Rajashekaranaya from Chennai and Murli Ayya also from Chennai. Ayyas, welcome to both of you, Nithyanandam. Go ahead and actually introduce yourselves and your background and a unique connection with Swamiji.
Thank you, Maharaj. Nithyanandam to all. My name is Rajashekar. I'm basically from a remote village in Tamil Nadu on the banks of river Kaveri. I'm basically from a traditional Saivite family. In the small village, there are few sampradayas like Shiva, following Vishnu, following other gods and goddesses. Just a population of 500, we had that much liberty to follow our own belief system. So I lived in the temple-based civilization. Actually, that's why the seeking is naturally in our DNA from that area. The banks of Kaveri has its own civilization. Even people from all over the world comes to that. The main, important temples, all the traditional temples are there. Basically, Shaiva and Shiva, Vishnu traditions are there, followed. A lot of Murugan temples are there. Like that, the many sampradayas are followed in this area. So from the background, I worked in a bank, Nationalist Bank. I had to work in many cities, and also I have worked in West Bengal, Calcutta. Now it is called as Kolkata. So it's actually different culture. So I had, as a banker, as a bank manager, I had an opportunity to interact with the people about everything, all subjects, A to Z. So religion is, and spiritualism is also part of that. With that background, when Swamiji, through some books only, I had connected with the Swamiji. Then immediately after doing a chakra meditation, the happening was entirely different. The experience was fantastic. Just it was not even done by Swamiji, by a initiated Acharya was conducting the program. I was a participant in Chennai. After that, connected with Swamiji, and immediately next month, there was Swamiji was having a spiritual tour in Himalayas. I joined him. Thereafter, I really got a lifetime opportunity given by Shiva, who I am devoted to too much. So initially, it was Muruga, then became Vinayaga, then Shiva. Now I am connected to Meenakshi. So Meenakshi has brought Swamiji. So thank you very much, Maharaj.
Thank you, Rajashekharaya. Welcome.
Murliya, please.
Murli, go ahead. Yes.
Nithyanandam to all. This is Murali from Chennai. Yes. Rajashekharaya was saying that he came from a spiritual background, seeking background. So I should say that he is fortunate. In my case, it's actually the opposite. In the sense, like, I don't remember any of my family members being any wonderfully spiritual or whatever it is. And if I look back now at my past, I can say that I wanted answers for some questions or reasons and explanations for some of our practices. But the point is, I was not very insistently seeking about that. Yes, I wanted answers, but I did not go out and seek answers. I did not ask anybody. Maybe because if I did not have any spiritual background, if I had, I would have asked maybe. And to recognize that it is the spiritual strength that was actually lacking in my life, and that is what is pulling me down. Otherwise, I had the good intelligence and the good education and all that. To realize this itself, it took me quite a long time, I should say. And after having come to Swamiji, I didn't want to miss it, because I thought I'm getting many answers, I'm getting many explanations. And one term really clicked with me even when I just started connecting with him. The term that he used was updated intelligence. Like, he is not talking anything in terms of faith, or he is not talking in the language which maybe you can say our grandfathers or forefathers used to talk, because at that point of time spirituality was already there with a lot of people. So some amount of explanation was enough to make anybody realize. But in the modern times, we require more logic in everything, more sense in everything. Only then we can connect. We would like to see more science in everything. So when Swamiji says Hinduism a greater science, again, it is not a simple statement he is making. It is not a verbal sentence that he is uttering and in the flow of speaking. It is actually a very conscious statement, because he is actually explaining how Hinduism is a greater science. And now I'm able to experientially see, or even intellectually see, how Hinduism is a bigger science. So when we begin to understand how Hinduism is a bigger science, we can see that we can never ignore it. We can never say no to it. We can never say that it is nonsense, or it is not dependent on whether you believe or not. It is there. It is simply there. It is simply truth, capital T. So how exactly it is, how I'm saying what I'm saying, maybe I'll expand when we get particular questions. So thank you for the opportunity to present myself now. Over to Maharaj. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ayya, and welcome to both of you. It's actually nice to see somebody who has come from a traditional background and has connected with various temples and has seen the benefit of the lifestyle of Hinduism, the temple-based lifestyle, and has
Maharaj,
seen that bring about Swamiji in his life.
Nithyananda. Nithyananda.
And in Rajashekharan Ayya, and then Murli Ayya, it's nice to see your background is a little modern, and but you're able to still connect with the Hinduism that Swamiji is reviving, both the traditional and the modern are able to connect with the teachings of Swamiji and be here today. So thank you for both of you for joining us. Yes, Ayya, you are heard, and let us get on to the discussion today. The question that we have is an ongoing question, and the question is, should Hindus allow religious conversion or not? And what is religious conversion and how does it affect Hinduism? So, we have seen in the past few days and facts about how religious conversion has, whether it's through force or through deceit, both ways has damaged the Hinduism's infrastructure, especially in the subcontinent of India. Here, the regular bashing and destruction of their infrastructures, including temples and the Gurukula system, and as well as the way that we make food available, the way that we conduct our economy, all of these were methodically removed from us, and as a result, it made it possible and easy for other religions to be able to convert Hindus into their religion. So, introducing this topic and giving the understanding about what is the religious conversion and how it has affected Hinduism, let us. I have wanted to hear from Rajashekharan Ayya.
So Hinduism actually is based on non-violence. The system believes in peaceful coexistence. But unfortunately, making use of it, the aggressive religion following people have invaded India brutally and adharmically. If you know that during the Nagas, they were fighting the Mandal, there was a time, adharmic way they used in the night, waging war unexpectedly like a guerrilla war. They introduced such a war and they were not having any following of dharmic principles. Like that, because it's only violence and looting and destroying, destruction, hatred is the only background. Unfortunately, those times, India was very richest country in the world. Even in the trade, there are a lot of evidences are there. Even if we go through the history, past history, India and China were leading the world in everything, civilization and economy, everything, spiritualism. Spiritualism also went from India to China. So the two countries are very strong. The moment the Industrial Revolution took place, because they want a colony, from this Christianity also came into India just for business. But here coming and knowing what is happening, they resorted to dividing and rule, and also betraying the person who helped them. Even the friends, first there are two kings, the relatives. They will support one person and fight and finish the other one. Then they will finish with the strength. They will finish the person who helped them, the friends. That is a betrayal part. So this is cunningly. Then slowly they taken over the country, and also brought missionaries too, as if to help the people through education, through other things, helping the patients. By going and praying for the patient, then they started converting. But the difference is, Hinduism is not like that. Hinduism principle is entirely different. It is not, we don't force people to follow. Naturally, they are inspired and follow the system. But as far as the other religions, Abrahamic religions, especially Islam and Christianity, because they are institutionalized and they wanted to have head count. They never wanted quality, they wanted quantity so that we can survive. It is only because of the collusion between the religion and the politics. But in India, the religion politics are separately kept. Even there will be helping, mutual help will be there, but it was separately kept. That is why Hinduism is a tradition without conversion still alive in the globe. Whereas other religions, ancient religions are gone, like Greek, Rome. They were praying to the different worship. They were worshipping gods. But they are also not there now because of, as we know, because of the brutal conversion and cunning, destruction, slowly, with a diabolic intention actually. They all converted into Christianity and Islam. Even between them in Spain, it has happened. Conversion between them was also happening. So actually, the proud of Hinduism is not doing conversion. Only by inspiring the people. The enlightened masters come. There are Shrutis, which was revealed by God Himself. Nobody can alter it. As Swamiji has said, Smritis also are coming. It is not introduced as like that. So there was a consensus by discussion, by Kandana Mandana, by debate, by voting. The democratic system was followed right from the beginning. That's why it is surveying in the mass. Whereas mother religions are destroyed, even now you see Christianism is actually burning down. Now it is not in a growth pattern. Even though they are going and converting, people are easily coming out. Because basically they believe in democracy. Even though they may make use of corporate multinationals to be alive. But because of the knowledge is developing through social media, now world has become a village because of internet and other scientific advancement. So the conversion, even this is not very effective. So it's a very near future. This conversion will not be the matter there. Once the people come to know about, even Muslims, they go to some other country, they stay there and they convert themselves. They don't follow the Islam. They cannot be forced to follow. Those who are willing to follow, they are following. That's different. So that's what I would like to discuss now.
Thank you, Ayya. Thank you for giving a good background about the religious conversion that has happened. And it's very unfortunate. And yes, Ayya, go ahead. Murli Ayya.
Thank you, Maharaj. What is religious conversion? Now, as I said, I came from a background where the spirituality was not much practiced. Fortunately or unfortunately, it just happened like that maybe. And so I did not know much about the so-called other religions. I mean, as a school student, when I read this term Hinduism, Sikhism, Christianity, Islam, I merely looked at these ideas as only a difference in faith. Like I used to tell myself, no, not exactly even consciously, maybe somewhere deep in the mind, I used to think Hinduism is all about worshipping so many gods, whereas a Christian will have only one God, Jesus, and the Muslims will have one God, Allah. Otherwise, what is the big deal? We don't recognize Jesus or Allah, and they don't recognize our Shiva, Durga Devi, Parvati, Saraswati, and all that. So, what is the big deal is that only at that level I used to recognize the differences, and only after actually coming to Swamiji and knowing and understanding the differences, knowing the meaning and purpose of various rituals, practices, how everything, what it is meant for, why we do that, what we do, and all that, and also seeing firsthand what these other faith people are talking about us among themselves, how they look at us, and all that. I realized that Hinduism and these other faiths are actually a totally different thought currents. It is not just a shift in the name of the deity. It is actually, I do have friends who who practice a different faith but have a Hindu mindset. In the sense that they'll say, Jesus is my God. He is the true God. Nobody can. I don't believe in your Shiva and whatever. You keep searching. They'll tell you that you keep searching, you keep analyzing. Don't tell me because so that's what I call as a mindset. So if they are there, if they are saying that Jesus is the true God because they have searched for it and gone there, we shouldn't have any problem at all. The problem really happens only when some vested interested elements are coming here and forcing their way of thinking into us. And that is what has been happening all these years. And that is why we are still talking about this topic. If they have gone to Jesus or Allah or whatever it is, or whoever the deity is, because they found real peace there, they found real growth there, in whatever dimension, whether spiritual or personal or financial, relationship wise, whatever, if they had found growth there, we would have no issues at all because they would keep that thought to themselves. The real problem happens when they thrust their belief on us. So conversion is not just the shift. If you want me to define conversion, it is not just the shift in who you prostrate before, who you call you as your deity. It is actually nursing a totally new thought current. So that is the problem. Now, if you want to believe something is your deity, if you feel that something is your God because you get something from there, well, go ahead. And Hinduism already has that. And that is what we call as Ishtadevata, your favorite deity. We have that concept. The problem happens when you try to impose your limited idea on everybody else. And these Abrahamic faith people must first of all realize that we don't mean to offend you, we mean to encompass you. We are not your replacement, we are your encompassment. And because only your cognition is small, limited, you tend to look at anything that is not, that is seemingly not possible from your faith. You tend to alienate and say that we are doing something wrong, we are praying to a wrong God and all that. I don't understand what the wrong God is. So the idea is you have to understand that you look at something as God because that is what your community has taught you, your society has taught you, or your experience has made you to believe and assert. But same way, somebody else will have his or her own experience, and based on that, he will define who God is in his or her own way. And that doesn't mean he is threatening you or his existence is your threat. Only when this clarity happens, the conversion itself will stop. It's not we are not here to debate whether Shiva is greater or Allah is greater, but what thought current really helps. If I believe that praying to Shiva and reading what the Agama has defined is my lifestyle and I get better only from there, then I will do it. But if your book itself says that, if your Quran or a Bible itself demands that only this thought current is best, then it is only we Hindus can only say that it is most unfortunate that way, and it is meant for a very limited context, very localized in terms of uh, societal uh, expanse uh, and time frame. Because it is not meant for it clearly seems to say that it is not meant for a period of time when the awareness, when the knowledge expands, deepens. Now your people will say yes to you. You see when you go and tell a very poor soul, when you go and tell a very poor person, you are suffering now because you have not prayed to the true God, and there is no sorry, you are not praying to the true God. You have been cursed by the actual true God because you did not accept Him. And if you accept Him, you will get everything. And once He accepts you, the ration comes to His house, or food and clothes comes to His house, or if He gets a job from His institutionalized setup. If somebody in His place gets a job, and he immediately thinks that he got whatever he got better in his life because of praying to the true God, it is only a way of exploiting his ignorance and awareness. That's not the true way of helping a person. If you really want to help poor people out of his poverty, do it just like that. Why do you want him to come to your church before you judge that he is eligible for it or he can be shown pity? So that is not the intention. You are trying to add more numbers to your faith and show your strength. That is not the right way to make people believe or accept who the true God is, what I will say. So conversion is not just a shift in who you pray to. It's a totally new thought current. And when you give them the basic needs which they were desperately crying for once upon a time, they will definitely come and support you. They will definitely say that. So that is not the real thing. Spirituality is different. Spirituality is not about just providing material needs. Hinduism is a greater science. Why we say this? Because it is true. It forms a complete circle without any gaps, knowledge gaps in the intellectual plane, in the tangible plane. The same principle can be given a spiritual context also. The same idea can be given a spiritual meaning also. How it actually applies in the cosmic context, how it is sensible even from the cosmic angle, how that even this thought current, even this way of happening in life can lead you to the ultimate goal. This is what how we are able to argue. But these Abrahamic faith, other faith people, they talk of the future as a completely uh, another plane. This life is something, the earthly life is something, and your life after death is a complete consequence of this phenomenon. That there's a clear difference between the earthly plane and the after earth life plane for them. So it's a totally new thought, different thought current, and here and there some matching may be there. But when we look at life from that angle, like the the afterlife plane, if it is a consequence of what is happening here, and nothing of what is happening here makes any sense by itself, it is simply random, then the way you look at life, the way you look at around the people around will be very different. And that is what is causing the enmity. And those who are actually able to grab whatever benefit they can, and grab whatever good they can because of their smartness in being able to earn or educate themselves, they have the upper hand. And those who are poor and who are not so aware tend to suffer and tend to be slaves to them. So it's only a divisive thing about the other faith. Whereas in Hinduism, we say that Vasudeva Kutumbakam means we are all belonging to God's family. We are not God's slaves. We are God family. And we are, because we are God ourselves, Aham Brahmasmi, we are a God family. So it's a totally different thought current between us and them. And when this difference is clear in the mind of people, the people will be able to choose consciously, and that conscious choice will what matter in the end. Otherwise, this conversion, your faith, my God, your God, my God, all these things will continue to happen, and it is absolutely senseless. That's what I'll say.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, yeah. Yes, beautifully. Both of you have shared how the Swamiji's key points that he's been saying again and again to us in his daily message from Paramashiva. He is shared, of course, as Hinduism is extremely life positive, and Rajashekharaya, you presented how beautifully its history and its way of tolerance has showed that we are extremely life positive, and how actually Hinduism is the greater science. Is also something that Swamiji has been reiterating. And yes, it is a greater science because it accommodates all things and all ways of looking at the world and looking at things. And it leads people on to more and more internalization, more and more analysis. And one of the things that Murliaya brought out that I agree with is that it's not just a change in the deity that you're worshipping, it's a change in your thought current. And it actually is a change in the fundamentals of your life. Who you are, what God is, what the world is you're deciding to completely change the answers to those questions. You're deciding to change the answer of those questions when you convert. And people are, unfortunately, they don't know this is for some people it'll just be a change in who you pray to, but who you do puja. But and it may seem like that, oh, what's wrong with the conversion, why we can't do it, why we shouldn't allow it, because it's just a matter of changing your faith. No, it's a changing of the way you look at the world. with this thought current of one life, of all that, there, out of that, a need and a greed manifests in a life. So there are problems with which this thought, the thought, when a person changes the thought current, what happens? And what we were discussing yesterday, beautifully, I wanted to reiterate one point, that is, in Sri Kailasa, when we create a law in conversion, we were discussing and we have come to an understanding that we can, maybe if conversion is allowed, then it can be allowed with keeping the principles of dharma in place, along with the laws that are already there in Sri Kailasa. So if somebody who wants to practice a particular religion that where meeting meat is necessary, they'll not be able to do that because it is because it is against the law of Sri Kailasa, against the law of working. And it's a beautiful thing actually that Swamiji is giving us these opportunities to vote, because in these discussions we will get to see the vision of Sri Kailasa. Because it is not, Sri Kailasa is a grand, bold statement to the world, a nation itself for Hinduism. But nobody is able to imagine it, nobody is able to encapsulate it and talk about it. But Swamiji is revealing to us beautifully how we can engage with each other, talk and have conversation and actualize our how we believe Hinduism should be. Because it is all in our hearts, in our dreams, about how the world should be and how I should live my religion, how the world should support my, the world should be in Sri Kailasa. So how Rajshekhar Ayya has had the temple-based lifestyle and how he wants to give that to his grandchildren, to the next world. In the same way, how a person experiences his enlightenment and wants that also to be a part of his friend's life. Sri Kailasa is actually the vision of that, where somebody can be practicing another faith, but they are all under the guidance of dharma and following the rules and the laws. So it gives us a beautiful platform to discuss and actualize, and all of us manifest those aspirations. And Swamiji beautifully says in his autobiography that I am the aspirations of billions of people. So in the same way, billions of Hindus who are aspiring to have such freedom and to be able to live their religion and make others understand that their religion is a greater science, that it is something that is the benefit for everyone. It is not just another religion. It is something that will be good for the world as planet Earth. For those who know this truth as Hinduism, Sri Kailasa is the aspiration of that, and Swamiji is bringing it out, and we're eternally grateful for that. So we wanted to present the next question for the discussion here, and the question is: militant missionaries use predatory tactics for conversion, exploiting poverty, disease, and natural calamities. Should Hindus adapt these conversion measures? So, one way we can look at this is if you look at a natural calamity or disease. These two things are unavoidable in society. You can avoid poverty. There are places and laws in place in many countries where poverty can be completely avoided with the amount of abundance that is created, that is supposed to be created by the people. So the disease and natural calamities, of course, unfortunately happen as we see in the world today. But unfortunately, these things are used not as a way to support people and give people the needs that they have, but to use their needs to convert into a religion. Somebody needs food. Yes, you can have this food, but in order to have this food, you need to religiously convert. This is a very cheap way. This is I feel is a very negative way and a very low level way to get somebody to come to a religion, because a religion is deeper than just having to get work for your next meal. Religion is the very reason to cook food and share with the world. My religion teaches me that I should cook food and I should share it with the world. Annam bahukurvitu. And this is what my religion teaches. But unfortunately, at the times of natural calamities and when mass diseases come, food security becomes a big problem for people. And when many of these other faiths go about giving food, it is always with a vested interest and an agenda. But when it comes to Hinduism, and us handling these kind of natural disasters that happen, including Swamiji, when the Thane cyclone happened back in earlier in this decade, he unconditionally went out and started providing food, asking nothing from people, asking nothing but nothing at all, because they need to heave, they need to survive. And it is not more about getting something from somebody, it is more about giving more and more. It is about, okay, you need a house, okay, you need some this, solving their problems and being there for them. As Swamiji beautifully teaches us, causing other people's reality. We are not here for our own selves, we are here for making their reality happen, their truth happen. So that is the way that Swamiji is bringing out Hinduism. And Hinduism should never adapt the method of just going at using these kind of outreach opportunities where the world really needs an organizational support, but never use those opportunities to spread or convert. It is only should be for them. It is to cause their reality, and this is one of the core teachings that Swamiji gives. And he always teaches that life is for others, life is for enriching, and it is all about giving others the solutions from where they are at. So this is what I wanted to share, Ayya, and we can have Rajashekar Ayya go and share your answer to this question: if we should adapt these kind of tactics for conversion.
Thank you, Maharaj. First, you see, Murli has clearly said the difference in the thought current of different religions. So, even though you see there is a calamity, there is a poverty, some people there is no school or education, but the concept of India, Hinduism is actually to help them out. It was happening. Actually, after the invasion by the traders who came as the East India Company and the Islamic invasion, they dismantled the system. In education, we have a beautiful system of Gurukul. Gurukul created many specialists in all fields of life. Our tradition of medicine is a direct outcome of our Hinduism. Our medicine is prevention. Cure is also there. The first aim is prevention. If you see the Ayurvedic or Siddha tradition, to help the people to be safeguarded from the disease coming to them. In my own village, there was a Siddha doctor. See, he knows the temperature and the seasonal change in our village. In advance, he used to come and give us medicine. Because the Hinduism, what was, if the doctor is preventing the disease to come to the people are healthy, and they do the cultivation. It was an agriculture-based village. They do the cultivation, they get a share. That is the system of Hinduism. See, all the doctors and other masons, everybody, they get a share. Every festival's time, they used to come. They will come and collect their share. Very happily, people used to give. That is what I am telling as a peaceful coexistence. It's not with a diabolical intention people are helping. We are helping them. Both the mutual help is there, not only from our side. They are also mutually help us. If your health is maintained well, so it's nice for them also, for us also. But if you see in the Western country after industrialization, the food multinational companies and pharma multinational companies are colluding, and they are the one and the same management. Through food, they are dictating what you have to eat. If you go to US, they don't cook. They eat. They get it from the supermarket, just to heat it and in the oven and eating it. So it is dictated by the multinational. So you are getting diseases. Then they create medicines for that. So it is only a profit is the motive. But here the health, mutual help, peaceful coexistence is here. Like that, everything. If you Vivekananda in the year 1903, if I am correct from records, he has made a survey of how people are being, the trusts are formed to help the people. In India, even Tamil Nadu, there are 30% of the trust was there. Even for pilgrims, those come for as a pilgrimage, those are wanderers, those who are in poverty, they are all fed freely by the people who are making wealth. That was the contribution to the society. The many wanderers become enlightened in due course. The life changed. So it's only a life affirmative, life positive approach of Hinduism. If you clearly dig into what is the root cause of this conversion, all this ill happening in the society, we believe in reincarnation theory. Hinduism believe in reincarnation theory. It has been proved. Even now, West is proving scientifically. People are having past memory thought. But the Abrahamic religion perception is there is no reincarnation. Somebody will come after 2000 years and give the judgment. They are waiting for that as a stone in the deathbed. Still they are kept alive so that to get the result. But we believe if you get the good powerful cognition in this birth, next birth will be still full of awareness. It will be only growth pattern. There will be growth in our lifestyle. We know that we are going to take birth. If we are only when you are enlightened, we are already enlightened, then only it is our option. The science is being taught by the teachers. It is revealed by God, and many incarnations has come and proved it by following it in their life. Ramakrishna came as a poor Brahmin, but what he has created to the people is a big enlightened master, Paramahamsa, how he lived, how he created people like Vivekananda to change the situation in India, this after effect of colonialism. Even Vivekananda initial stage, he was only following the new Hinduism. He was with a group, I think it is Brahma Samaj if I am correct, they were not believing in idol worship. After seeing, proved by Paramahamsa, then only he changed his thing. The world know what Vivekananda has contributed to the world. We only contribute. We don't amass, don't exploit the weakness of people, weakness of the society. So ours is always life affirmative. They are life negative because they believe one birth. This is a root cause, I believe.
So much, Rajashekhar. And yes, thank you for bringing out the point on Vivekananda. Actually, he has, of course, in 1893, when he went to Chicago and gave the talk about, just in the first 5 minutes of his talk, talked about Hinduism. The entire audience of 20,000 people were floored by his first few statements itself. And he said nothing other than the greatness of Hinduism, calling everybody the brothers and sisters, and then saying, I come from a religion that is the mother of religions. Saying these few statements, the entire world agreed to it and understood that he is ancient and he has a soul that is very ancient, and he comes from a religion that is a mother of religions. And actually, that is the way that UN Swamiji has described Swamiji has described Hinduism as such an ancient religion that all the religions that are doing their conversion and all these, they're only 2,000 years old. They're only this 2,000 or so years old. Whereas Hinduism is ancient, hundreds of thousands of lakhs of years and crores of years old. It is extremely ancient, and that is an understanding, that is an empowering point that all Hindus should understand. That it is not that the religion that may be causing problems with its conversion and with its tactics is just young. It just needs to understand that they need to understand that what they're doing is fear and greed based. We have merged from that, and in that same way, as a mother religion, we definitely can enrich the world and actually heal from these tactics, these cheap level tactics. So actually, the question, Murli, you were asking the question, is the cheap methods that are done, specifically the tactics that are where conversion is done when somebody is in poverty, when somebody is facing natural calamities, or at the time of disease. When these times the conversion is happening rapidly. So the question is, should Hindus adapt the same methods of conversion or same tactics?
Okay.
Go ahead, Ayya. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. First of all, if you are practicing Hindu, we will know that there's no concept called conversion in Hinduism, because we already encompass the whole world. We already include everything. See, I used to tell my convert friends there are friends who actually want me to come back, come into Christianity, and I tell them, like, if you are the ultimate truth, how exactly are you able to alienate me? Why exactly do I not have in any place in your system, in your way of life? Why do you alienate me? How do you look at me as somebody else? I also come from the same God who created you. So my existence also should be a part of what your God created. Why do you look at me? How exactly are you able to look at me as something who's away from the God plane? This means you are distinguishing. You are actually etching a world out of what already exists. You don't include everything for what they are. You want something to be true, and you are trying to make that as the ultimate truth. You are not actually uh, cognizing what is the truth. You want to make something as the truth, and that is not done. That's what I used to
Actually,
tell
yeah.
my.
Previously, when you said, sorry, just wanting to add because you said this similar thing before. One thing you said was that people are saying other religion people are telling us, and we are worshiping the wrong god.
Yes.
Means, as you said, also they have a Hindu mindset. Means
Yes.
that God exists in their mind. How can it not exist? You're praying to it. Something's happening.
I'm talking of two people now. Like, I'm talking of more than one person now.
Ah, so yeah, so that's the thing. You're talking about more than if your thought current itself is in the concept of coexistence of all gods and all gods exist, but how can there
Yes.
and be a wrong god? So, um,
Yes.
just wanted to reiterate that yeah, your point actually comes again here. So go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm saying, see, he says you are praying to a wrong God. I'm saying you define God based on how you think, what you think you are. You wanted to be forgiven for your sin, and that is what you call as your God. But I don't recognize myself as a sinner, so I don't want a sin forgiving God. As simple as that. I'm not looking for that. So should Hindus adopt such a conversion method? We don't convert at all. What see, we have many spiritual powers here. So Swamiji talks about 463 powers given by Paramashiva. So what I will say is, let us help the people out of their present situation. Let us help them alleviate come out of poverty. Let us help them get good education. Let us help enrich us with our knowledge that we have in different fields. But we if we want them to appreciate the hardcore Hinduism, let us leave it to their choice. We are not for conversion. If any natural calamity comes, yes, we can go there and we can use our powers, spiritual powers, to make them come out of that. But if you want them to convert, if you want them to appreciate real Hinduism or want to appreciate Hindu gods, let us not force them. We will tell them, maybe we will tell them that this is the spiritual power we got, and that is why we are able to. If they are in the listening space, if they are mature enough to understand, let us tell them. Because sometimes, if people are so deep rooted in their problem, they will not even say, they will not even see who's giving them food. They'll just grab the food from the hand which is giving them food and gobble them. So they will not even bother, and that is how many people even and that space is what these conversion elements actually exploit. Let us also not do that. Let us not exploit the poverty or the troubled space in which the people are. We can just a minute. So let us not exploit the people's troubled space. Maybe we can tell them, and if they are in the listening mode, if they have come out of space, and if they become somewhat conscious and they want to give back for whatever they had received, if they show some gratitude, maybe we can tell them. But let us practicing Hindus never resort to conversion by exploitation or any cheap means with the other elements too. We will always tell them that it is Hinduism, it is the Hindu scriptures which helped them, if they are in the listening mode, and we let us stop there. If they want to practice, let us come, let them come. Otherwise, we will just enrich them and be complete with that. That is my stance on the answer to the question which you asked.
Yes, yeah. Thank you for the
Thank
input
you.
there. So we have come to the
They should
conclusion.
know.
Ah.
They should know that Hinduism does offer solution for life problems.
Correct.
But later the choice must be left to them.
Correct. Yes, and even Swamiji has told that Hinduism has an answer to all the problems. Any problem that anybody has faces, there is a solution that the tradition can give. And it's not even that. How do we even have that capability? I feel because of two reasons. Because we have existed long enough to face all these problems. And also, we have the heart to have the listening to the other to understand where they're coming from. We have that tolerance. We have the life positivity. Extremely important. Yes.
Sorry. But by this thought current, I actually want to iterate one more people to all the audience that we are having now. Your solution for the problem, as from the Hindu context, does not depend on who you look at as God. To that extent, we are non-violent. See, when you say that only this God has got the solution for you, or this line of faith, it is a subtle violence. The solution is there, and it may be a wonderful one, it may be a long lasting one, but you are laying a precondition there that only if you think like this, only when you look at God like this, only when you approach this deity, then you are given the solution. There is a subtle violence, is what I will say. That's a subtle violence involved in that situation. But when you say that here is a solution for your problem and we are complete about it, that is the ultimate non-violence. It is the ultimate no forcing in any form for whatever reason. So that is the ultimate non-violence, and Hinduism was, is, and I will say will be absolute non-violence only when we don't adopt such conversion tactics. After all, if that is the ultimate truth, the truth will stand for itself by itself, and there is no need for any human medium, the limited intelligence as the human mind to make it stand. It will stand by itself. That's what I will say. Thank you.
Yes, and as we support the intelligence itself, will make somebody understand how what is it that is giving them the better solution. The guy who's going to give you food and know and look out for you as you are, where you are, or the one who has a vested interest in giving you food and asking and telling you that it is because of this particular religion you are having this food. And this again proves that Hinduism is a greater science, increasing and taking people to the next levels of intelligence and consciousness. So thank you both for joining us today. We come to the conclusion of today's Vakyartha Sadhas, and it is a good ongoing topic where we understand the fundamentals of the tradition and beautifully reiterate and celebrate Swamiji's message to the world and his message of Sri Kailasa. So if you have understood and followed us in this conversation, you can also participate in the ongoing Hindu votes. Go to the URL tinyurl.com/Hindu votes. Your vote can count. Hindu votes are sacred. They are sacred literally because they are for the best of the world. Your engagement and your participation in this will be for the betterment of the world itself. So thank you so much. We can come to the conclusion of today's Vakyartha Sadhas and get ready to see the Satsang, the Jnanapada Vivarana of His Divine Holiness Swamiji. So let us now prepare ourselves, sit straight, inhale and exhale as deeply as possible and as slowly as possible. Meditate on Paramashiva, near Anandagandha with 25 heads and 50 arms. And let us chant the Mahavakya. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.